I'm just all over the place. So, 3 years ago, I've heard news of a new Disney series, and after Gravity Falls, I was like, what can beat that? And then Amphibia started airing of July 17th, 2019. And as soon as I saw the first episode in the summer 2019, I'm like, this has a future of possibly beating Gravity Falls. And after seeing the series finale yesterday, this solidifies it. Well, for me at least. For other people, nothing will beat Gravity Falls. I understand that. For me, Amphibia and Gravity Falls are tied. Just tied. By the way, Amphibia, spoilers for the series finale. So, 3, 2, 1, go. So, since I'm talking about the series as a whole, I'm going to go through the characters, the plot, the world building, and finally, the series finale. The characters. We first meet Anne in the forest. Now, she doesn't seem like much. She is cummed as a pushover, but as the series goes on, she evolves into her own person. And the two other girls, Sasha first, since she's shown first, Sasha is shown as a control freak to her friends and doesn't care what they like. But through season 2 and season 3, she really shows that she can change and will evolve. And Marcy is just a klutz. Just a anime klutz. Still in this year's finale. But in the there is something that she did that they can never forgive her. Well, they can forgive her, and they will, but at the moment they couldn't. Spoilers for True Colors. Marcy got trapped in Amphibia in the first place. Yeah. That was something I did not expect while watching the season 2 finale. So, the Planters. They are shown as kooky, outcasts, and as the series goes on, they go into town heroes because they face down all types of different monsters and defend Wartwood. Polly, she wants to take over the world and has an inferiority complex. And Sprig has no real true friends, and Anne was a true friend. And Hop Pop is more into the old ways. So, yeah. And most of that, if not all of that, was good. They really developed into their own characters. Even by the end of season 2, Polly grew legs. Never thought any actual character development was gonna happen. Safe to say that there is. And next, the plot. Anne, Sasha, and Marcy are trying to get back to the human realm by using the music box throughout the whole series. Now, the music box called the Calamity Box shows that it can travel the user to any imaginable world. mainly just traveled to Amphibia and back. Oh, I forgot some of the characters, but thank goodness I just covered the plot. I forgot about Grime. Grime is Sasha's friend, general, lieutenant, I think. I'm not sure. I need to rewatch the show again. But, it's still very good to, see Grime actually care for this human girl and really show that he has some heart throughout the series. And last but not least, King Amphibia, Yunnan, and Olivia. Yunnan and Olivia grew into a couple by the series finale. And I can actually see that. Because when they're trying to rescue Marcy in the Olivia and Yunnan episode, they really showed that they can care for each other. And they really, really show that. I love their character development. You know, King Andreas, shown at first this kind, loving, fun-hearted king, then turns over a new leaf instantly as he gets the Calamity Box to being a conqueror. Just, dang. Just dang. This is just dang. And like, King Andreas, still as a villain, is very entertaining to watch. With his little jokes, he's like, alright, let's have some fun. That is great. That is great. I love that. Even though he's still a villain, he still has that a little bit fun, caring personality. I love it. And last but not least, the core. AKA the true villain of the series. First, showing in the basement at the start of season 2, then in season 3 becoming Darcy, merging with Marcy to you know, speak and do stuff, obviously. Core's the true villain. I just love the Core. Core's the true villain of Amphibia, and it's really shown how much the Core will not let down. Will not just let victory, let Anne's victory claim the future. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna take control of the moon and annihilate the entire planet. Yeah, things go down in the series finale. Now, let me get to the series finale. Holy heck, the series finale for this show hits hard. Most of this video is going to be talking about the series finale. But I'm going to start about talking the season finale from season 1 and season 2. Then I'm going to get to the series finale. So, the season 1 finale. And finally meets Sasha after an entire season of not seeing her. And Sasha's like, oh yeah, I brought my fans with me. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a party at Two Tower. But we're not. See, we're gonna execute this old man because political nonsense. And since Anne is very close to Hop Pop at this point, she's like, nah, I'm not gonna let you do that. Nah, in no sense of the word, nope. So she's like, nah, I'm gonna duel you. And Sasha's like, this is new. why are you doing this? Because Sasha knows Anne from before and knows that she is a pushover and that she doesn't stand up most of the time. The first time she stands up to Sasha, Sasha is genuinely surprised. Because that's when Sasha tries to kill Sprig and Sprig just stops her right in her tracks. Anyway, Anne wins the fight. Grime tries to execute Hop Pop again, but Wally plants boom shrooms around the place, which Anne did not agree to, but didn't know because Wally has one eye and was winking with that one eye. And so, explosions everywhere. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Anyway, explosions everywhere. The planners try to get every frog off of Toad Tower, and then Sasha falls off the Toad Tower and it catches her and is like, okay, you're gonna be alright. And then she falls off Toad Tower herself. The planners help her and anchor her, but the building is collapsing. What are they gonna do? So Sasha's like, I think you're better off without me, and let's go. I thought she was dead at that moment, but then Grime comes in and catches her, goes along the side of Toad Tower, and then goes across the land. He has Sasha in his arms, beaten and broken. And then he gives Anne the look like things will never be the same. And then Anne, the planners set off their adventure to Newtopia to try to get Anne back home. Now, let's go to the Series 2 finale, which tops all things dramatically. So, they find out King Andreas is really a conqueror. Sasha and Grime try to invade Newtopia with toads. That doesn't work out, blah, 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 blah. Sasha tries to warn Anne that King Andreas isn't what he seems and doesn't trust Sasha anymore, so she gives him the box. And Andreas is telling the story of how Amphibia used to be a great land of conquerors. And that just really goes to show that so this is the one of the magnum opuses of Amphibia, of the entire show. So like he's like, oh yeah, my building is gonna rise. And then they're just like, no, you can't do this. And he's like, oh, I'll show you. And then he uses this giant arch thing from the top of the tower that we see many drop-ins of and never knew what the true purpose was. But we finally know here as it's turned into a gun, fires, and obliterates Toad Tower entirely. And that was just one of the things that just surprised me entirely. And so, Anne frees Sasha. Sasha's like, I got your back. And Grime's like, and I got your back too. Breaks the ropes. And is like, ha 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 ha. And they're trying to fight all the, trying to fight all these robot frogs called Frobos. Now, we know from the season 2 premiere, I can't talk, season 2 premiere that one of Frobo, was following them throughout. And that was Light Frobo. Dark Frobo comes from these ruins. They rise up and they be like, And they're just like, you're dead. And through the rest of the sequence, they're trying to forget Marcy from sending them to Amphibia in the first place. Marcy fights the dark Frobos, which is a nice touch, and they try to win him over, but they're like, if we get the music box, we may have a fighting chance. Hop Pop's right. We got this. And when King Andrews tries to kill Polly, Frobo is like, nah, I won't let you kill her. Then he's like, oh, well, my robots must be defective. And he annihilates it. And then Polly's like, you killed him. And then King Andrews is like, don't worry, you're up next. And then we thought Polly was dead, but nope, she grew legs. She grew legs and ran out of the way. And then this show, and then they tell her to get the music box. She succeeds, but King Andrews is like, nah, I have Sprig. If you use the music box, I will let go of Sprig. Polly puts back the music box. He's like, the thing about friends is that the more you love them, the more sad it is to see them go. He drops Sprig. Everyone is crying. And then Anne cries. Legit cries, and has memories of all the times of all good memories of Sprig. And as she cries, the purple gem of the Clanny box, some of that energy goes into her, circles around her, and then it's like, Grimes like, oh no, maybe it's a human thing. And then she stands up, and Sasha's like, this is not a human thing. And she's like, and she is a glowing blue. She has a blue hair, branches growing out of her hair, leaves just falling everywhere, and this blue aura all around her. And she's like, give him back. Give him back. And then she goes Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan, as some people call her, but I like to call her Calamity Ann. Calamity Ann destroys everything. Destroys the two Frobos right beside her. Goes in for King Andrews, punches him, and then and King Andrews tries to destroy her, but nah. I'm on the ceiling, and bam, 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 destroy all those robots, punch you, destroy your shield, and she's like, give him back, and just like passes out. Cause in the show is confirmed that those powers drain her of her energy, and make her, it has a time limit basically, which makes sense. That was amazing. I just loved it. And that goes to show that you can't mess with this girl. If you do, you will just die entirely. And that's why I think that Anne could literally beat a Guardian from Destiny. I know what you guys are thinking, but as soon as I get to the series finale, you will agree with me too. And so they tried to Sasha and Grime distract Andreas, and so Anne, Marcy, and the Planters could get to Earth. And then Marcy is fooling around with the music box for unknown reasons. We still don't know what she was going to do with it. And sword through the chest. Through the chest. Dead. Andreas' fire sword right through her. And Andreas is like, now what could you make me do? Both Anne and Sasha are crying. So, she's killed. Anne and the planters are sent to the human realm, and they have to find their way back to Amphibia to stop King Andreas and the invasion. So, yeah. This was one of the perfect season finales I've ever seen in my life. I've ever seen. Then the season 2 finale. No, not the season 2 finale. The series finale. Holy crap. They do everything in their power to make you feel like this is the end. And with the 3-part finale, it sure is. Because it's like, nah, invasion, straight on Earth. Anne uses her calamity powers to stop Andreas, stop the core. But the core's like, nah, I'm going to take control of the entire freaking moon and just annihilate Earth. Because it's my final gambit. And I like how Sasha's like, so the core is just a big sore loser. And Andreas is like, more or less. And so and Sasha and Marcy have to use their full calamity powers to stop the moon from crashing into the planet. And Calamity Sasha and Calamity Marcy, top tier designs by the design team. And a full on Calamity Anne, because Anne from this series 2 finale only had a sliver of the box's powers, and yet totally defeat Andreas. And now that she has the full on powers of the Calamity box, well, a third of it, she's gonna go bananas. She beats some of the robots by doing tennis. Sasha uses her pom-poms to beat up not King Andreas, the core's robots. And then Marcy throws the 20-sided die and is like, boom, 20, and it's like, sorry, I'm just geeking out at the moment. And they find out that all the powers that the 3 of them can't do this alone. So Anne has a contingency plan that was given to her by Mother Ohm, and the Mother Ohm was like, oh yeah, and there's like a secret spell, but like if you do this, if you collect all of those Calamity's powers, you will die. And she's like, Sasha, Marcy, I have to collect all the Calamity's powers. I have to do this. Because Sasha and Marcy aren't used to the Calamity's powers. They aren't used to it as Anne is. So Anne's like, okay, I will use the Calamity box's powers. I will do it, but in the process, I might die. And Sasha and Marcy are just like, no, don't do this. We will find another way. But they're like, but Anne's like, I trusted you guys through and through. Now it's your time to trust me. They trust her and sends them back to Earth. And it's like, I call on the power. Help me save this world. And boom, a full-on Calamity Anne. She is full-on white Like, her even pupils are white. There's no sense of color anywhere. And Sasha and Marcy go straight back to Amphibia. And Sprig is like, "Oh man, where's Anne? You're supposed to like help her up there." But they're just like, "Oh, Anne has got this. She has caught on the powers of all the calamity boxes, but she might die." And Sprig is like, "No, I'm gonna talk some sense into her," with legit tears in his eyes as he takes Frobo and goes right up there and is like, "You don't have to do this. We can find another way." But and it's like, "There is no other way, Sprig." Then Sprig is like, "Goodbye, Anne." Anne's like, "Goodbye, Sprig." And as she uses the full-on calamity powers to annihilate the moon. Full-on annihilate the moon. I just love it. Full-on annihilation. Just full-on annihilation. I just love it. And then as she returns to Earth, she is fragmented, broken from using the Calamity's powers. And her last words were, I didn't get to see Lovechoice too, as she disintegrates. Now, this one is up for debate, because I legit think Anne died in this moment. But we come back for a commercial and realize that Anne is alive somewhere, and she goes into this little hut and finds a computer. She's like, "Oh yeah, who are you?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm the deity of the the Calamity Gems." And the gems turn into Domino because the true form would be too frightening. And we saw the true form of the Guardian, and yeah, that was terrifying. And the Guardian tells Anne that Anne's like, "Oh yeah, did I die?" And the deity is like, "All right, yeah, you died, but I made a copy of you before you died." So Anne and Canon truly died. But since the copies made the same memories and same experiences as the other Anne, it's technically the same Anne, but not the same true Anne. If you get what I'm saying. But like, the Guardian's like, "Oh yeah, I made the stones to test mortals if they would use the power for good. Clearly, Anne was the first one to do it in 10,000 years." And it's like, oh yeah, you should become the Guardian because I am too tired to do this. But Anne's like, nah. I still have my whole life ahead of me. I made 100 mistakes, and I'm pretty sure I'll blow up the multiverse. And the Guardian's like, yeah, you should go live out your life. And so the Guardian makes a portal to the human realm. I see there's God Domino, and kudos on the God Domino design. And God Domino is like, "Okay, so I'm sending you back to the living world, but after 78 years, you will become Guardian of the Multiverse." And then it's like, "Cool. Wait, I die in 78 years later. Does that mean So, if you do the math, hold on, I'm gonna do the math right now. Anne is canonically 13, right? So 13 plus 78 is 91. She lives till the age of 91. That is a full-on life. So, at the age of 91, she will die and become Guardian of the entire multiverse. Now you see why I think she can beat the Guardians from Destiny. Because after Amphibia, she will become a god, just full-on god. Full-on god in control of the entire multiverse, and I'm pretty sure Destiny is one of them. And And she could be like, alright, let's do this. And just annihilate in Destiny's entire universe. Fantastic. So, like, Anne gets back and has the slivers of the Calamity Gems with her with TTYL at the bottom. But Marcy says that these slivers are enough to get us home, but not enough to get us back. So this is the last time they're in Amphibia. They have to say goodbye to everyone. Marcy says goodbye to Olivia, Yunnan, and King Andreas. Even though King Andreas killed her, Andreas is like, goodbye, kiddo. As King Andreas had one true friend after thousands of years. And then Sasha and Grime are just bawling in tears, being like, tell Braddock and tell Percy and Braddock that I'll miss them. And Grime's like, I will after I pick up the pieces of my heart. And that was the most comedic goodbye I've ever seen. But by far the most emotional was Anne and Sprig. Knowing that they'll never see each other again, Anne gives Sprig her phone because of all the memories that has all of her memories and all her adventures with Sprig. And so all those are together. Sprig says one final goodbye. All the planters say their goodbye. Everyone says their goodbye. And as Sasha and Marcy leave to the human world, Anne's about to leave. Sprig hugs Anne, what seems like the last time. Anne hugs back and goes through the portal. We fast forward 10 years later where Polly finally grew a body, and fascinating, it is an amazing design. I love the design of grown-up Polly. And we start off in the future, beat for beat, the first episode with Wally leaving the diner, but instead of running into Anne, he ran into grown-up Polly. And it's like, I'll never get used to Polly having legs. And then Croaker gets pushed for Maddie and is like, my joints work fine now. And Woggle loses all of his muscles and is like, I need to work out again. And then Polly goes to the farm where Frobo is helping out. Hop Hop is still alive, surprisingly, and with it. And sorry, the camera just fell over. Hold on. I am sorry I have to do this right in the middle of it, but... So, Hop Hop and Hop Pop's love, I forget what the name is. I'm sorry, Amphibia fans. I'm an Amphibia fan too, but sometimes Amphibia fans forget things. So, I forgot that. And Sprig was always in the basement, writing down in a journal, and most people think that Sprig wrote the Dr. P journal that Marcy found about the Calamity Box. Now, how would that work? Would Sprig find a time travel device and just time travel back? And if he did time travel back, would he go to Anne immediately, or would he just let things be? But yeah, Sprig writes in a book about the Moss Man. And then I see Sprig grown up and is like 10 years later, maybe Amphibia time is just off, I think. So most of the so Sprig is writing down in the journal, right? And I see his billboard behind him, and he wrote down a picture of Calamity Ann and all the things that he has seen throughout the series. And the thing that they were talking about was a statue of Anne, holding the Calamity box in one hand and the sword in the other. And under it says, Anne Boonchoy, we will miss you. Great emotional ending. Great. And Sprig's lover, Ivy, is like, oh man, I found a new continent on the other side of the planet. You ready for another adventure? Sprig looks at Anne's statue and is like, yeah. And then we cut back to the human world where it's 10 years later. Sasha is a child psychologist. Marcy is a webtoon cartoonist, and Anne works at the aquarium in the amphibian section. So in the amphibian section, she's like, oh yeah, this is a South American pink tree frog. Then one of the kids is like, what'd you name him? And she's like, I named this Sprig after a dear friend of mine. And then it puts Sprig back in the environment, and in the background I see the planter house miniaturized, and I just balled up in tears. And it's nice that Marcy, after all this time, still moved away. Things still changed. She still moved away. And after 10 years later, finally came back. And Anne's final monologue is like, things change, but sometimes those changes might come back. And it says, the end. Amphibia says goodbye. It was an emotional roller coaster being through this series, and I just love this series so much, and deserves way more respect than it does. Through the first episode, people didn't know if it existed, and by the end, it showed that it can contend with Disney's greats. And in my opinion, is one of Disney's greats. I will always enjoy the adventures in Amphibia, and I hope you will too. Amphibia is a place full of changes, and it shows that three girls that might not ever change for the better. Now, Disney on their Twitter released a full-on credits for the final episode. And in the final frame of those credits, people are like, what's the message at the bottom? People think it's complete, the end, or someone. But it's not someone or the end. It's actually complete and tie. Which is a good send-off because Anne is tie. If you don't know what tie is, just look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you. But I love that little personal message at the end, knowing that Amphibia is done. It's completed. I will always watch this series no matter what, just like Gravity Falls and Spectacular Spider-Man before it. But it will always have an emotional connection with its fans, with viewers everywhere. And I hope more Disney fans and more fans of anything animation see this series more. As just kooky little frog show. It is something much more. And I sure hope you get to see it through. Now, did you guys see Amphibia? And if you saw Amphibia day one, put hashtag Amphibia in the comments below. If you saw Amphibia during COVID, put a hashtag Calamity Box. And if you've never seen Amphibia at all, put hashtag must watch Amphibia. Because Amphibia is so much more than it makes it out to be. And if you're having Gravity Falls, the holes in your heart, then Amphibia would definitely fill those holes and make more. I just love this show, and I sure hope Disney makes merch of it, because I would definitely buy that. I've heard that they're gonna make a Marcy Journal book, like kind of the same way they did with Gravity Falls with Journal 3. But if they actually do that, buy it immediately, no questions asked. Because I want to know more about Amphibia, and you should too. And hopefully after watching Amphibia entirely, you will see that it's great too, and that Calamity Ann can beat every Destiny 2 character out there. I am sorry, but it is possible. So yeah, if you haven't watched Amphibia yet, watch Amphibia right now. The entire series, most of the series is on Disney Plus. Some of the final episodes you can find online or Disney Now if you have it. And yeah, that's about all I can say. And Amphibia is definitely up there with one of the greatest series finales I've ever seen. And I'll be back with another series talk with shows like Gravity Falls, The Last Airbender. I know I already did a sort of review on it, but I never did like a full-on series talk of it, just go on through all of it. So I'll do a series talk on that, and I'll do one on like the 80s Spider-Man series, go through all that, and the DuckTales reboot, which is surprisingly good considering that's a reboot. But yeah, Amphibia, one heck of a time if you give it the chance, and you should definitely give it the chance.